It says, okay, now it's recording. All right, cool. What's up, guys? It's Aariyana here. This is my first ever YouTube video. Thumbs up. I'll probably put some interactions or something in the video, like the applause or something like that to make it extra. Anyways, but I'm here with Miss Tania. My first video is just gonna be like a chill video. We're gonna answer some of your burning pre-med and medical school questions that you may have. Tania is a pre-med. You can go ahead and tell them about yourself if you want to.
So I am a medical laboratory science major, pretty non-traditional, I believe, since a lot of pre-meds I know are basically doing like life sciences or biology or something. But yeah, I feel like I'm a little late starter only because I decided to pursue like becoming a medical doctor in the middle of my first year instead of like ever since I was a kid. But you know, we're doing good. We're doing good. I'm currently getting clinical experience by being a first responder and a medical receptionist, and I'm also a certified phlebotomy technician. Oh, and I'm from Canada. In case like, because our medical school system,
Wait a minute. I didn't even know you were from Canada. You
it's
don't even tell me this. Okay. Let's just go ahead. That's the coolest thing ever, first of all. So are you technically like an international, will you be like an IMG when you start medical school? That's like international medical school graduate.
honestly, yeah, I am thinking of applying to like American medical schools. Like there are some Canadian friendly American medical schools, and those are the ones that I'm keeping my eye on because like admission is softer, and then tuition is cheaper as well. So I really have my eye on those American friendly ones, and then I'll apply to some Canadian ones as well. So
Okay. Oh, that's so great for you. Honestly, I didn't even know you were like from Canada. I don't know what I thought, but I thought you weren't. I didn't know you were from Canada. So this is actually cool. And I'm going to touch base on like that topic in general of being like an IMG and being able to study being a doctor anywhere and all of that. But your story honestly is very inspiring because a lot of people, they don't really know what they want to do. Like, if we're being realistic, when you go to college, not many people know what they want to do. So it's like they're kind of switching around majors, getting the feel of everything because
mhm.
we're figuring out ourselves, and then we're also trying to figure out what we want to do for the rest of our lives. So we're like 18 years old, coming out of mom's house, and we're like, all right, what's next? What do we
Exactly.
do? So I think your story is pretty inspiring, just in general, because you're from Canada. I mean, Canada's awesome. Canada's cool. Yeah, so that's Tania, y'all. She's great. I'm just gonna introduce myself. I'm probably gonna do a whole nother video by myself, just introducing myself to the channel because I feel like that's appropriate, I guess, when you're starting a YouTube. My name is Aariyana. I am a first year medical student. That sounds crazy to say. Let's just that sounds crazy to say. I have a bachelor's and a master's in biomedical sciences and pre-med. I'm one of those people where I've always known I want to do medicine. So this has kind of been my route for as long as I could remember. I have a SAP story like everybody else on why I want to be a doctor and everything. I'm not going to get into that now, but I've always kind of just wanted to be a doctor. This is something that has always been my thing. Medicine and science. I tell everybody science and biology and medicine, it's my first love. So anything that interferes with like all of that, I'm like, all right, whatever. It's God, family, medicine at the end of the day. So that's a little bit about me. I also am into fashion, lifestyle blogging, all of the cute little girly stuff. But yeah, mainly my thing is medicine. So this channel is going to be pretty much just a medical based channel. I'll probably be throwing in some vlogs in there. I'll probably be doing a lot of different stuff too that the normal YouTubers do. But mainly, this is the channel I wanted to have for pre-med medical students. We're gonna have some residency doctors on this particular segment, so we're gonna have everybody just come together and talk to everybody wherever you are in your medical journey. You're gonna have somebody here on this channel to have a video for you. All right, you ready to get started with these questions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me bring out my handy dandy iPad. You seen the TikTok where they were like, I don't feel like I don't have my
I
life
feel like
together.
I have my life together. Yep. No, because same.
Oh, it's got the color and
I
everything.
had to. I
We're
had
here.
to.
We're here. All right, so we're gonna start off with I'm just gonna go back and forth between my question and then your question from your followers as well. And so we're gonna start on your question. So your first question is, what are your thoughts on gap years?
Okay. Personally, I do feel like I might end up taking a gap year myself. I feel like there's such a negative stigma around gap years, where I feel like maybe it's from like an African community point of view. Like a lot of people tend to be like, "Oh, why are you just wasting a year when you can just go straight to school and finish and be done once and for all?" But I feel like gap years are actually very important. I feel like jumping straight into university from high school, you don't really get time to like know yourself. Like a lot of people at least don't have a lot of time to get to know themselves and if it's really what you want to do cuz going to medical school is no joke. It's a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of money. So I feel like taking a gap year, especially if you're not 100% certain or even if you just want to save money or just polish your application, I feel like taking gap year is super important. And I do have a couple of friends as well who have who took gap years and they enjoyed it. Like every single person I speak to who took gap years, they enjoyed it and they recommend it to everybody. So I feel like it's pretty important and it shouldn't be looked down upon.
Yeah. So my thoughts on gap years. I funny story. I accidentally took a gap year. I wasn't trying to take a gap year, but I accidentally took a gap year just because I ended up graduating early with my bachelor's degree. So instead of graduating May 2021, I graduated in December 2020. And so at that point I was just like, what am I gonna do? I was like, all right, you graduated early. That's cute and all, but medical school realistically already started in the fall. So what you gonna do until next September, October? So I was like, you know what? Okay, I got myself a job. I worked as a scientist and a laboratory technician. Shout out to my lab down here in Virginia. I worked there for about 7 months, I believe, 7, 8 months, and then I transferred over to Atlanta, where I worked as a medical assistant for a couple months too. So I just dedicated my personal gap year to working, and then of course I had to study for that test we don't discuss.
Oh,
that
I'm
that
not
test that
excited.
shall not be named. What did Princeton Review say? The MCAT is hard and the MCAT is important. I,
No, I hate that
Lord,
commercial. I can't. I can't.
that commercial haunt. I just want Princeton Review to know y'all did your job right because that commercial will forever haunt me.
Hmm.
Period.
I
I
didn't take it yet, and I'm already not excited.
Yeah, so my gap year, I accidentally took a gap year, and during that time too, I dedicated studying, and then it also gave me a lot of time too. I recognized to work on my actual application because I know normally people only have a couple months to fill in their applications and everything. I had a whole
Mhm.
year, so I started mine ahead of time. My applications weren't even due until I think December 15th, 2021. So I was
Jeez.
working.
So you were ready. You were
I
ready.
was when I tell you I was ready for this, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous still, but we'll get into that. But I was ready, girl. All right, so my first question was what was your path? So I kind of already answered that. My path kind of it's I want to say it's traditional but non-traditional at the same time. Traditional in being okay, I got my bachelor's degree, I got my master's degree, I started medical school. So the traditional path, I didn't take like 5, 6 years to realize I wanted to go to medical school because I've already known I want to go to medical school. So I've already had that background and basics to where I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do. So I think my path, like I said, is just a normal straight path. The only difference that I did was I accidentally took that gap year, which helped me in the long run. So
Mhm.
I'm not mad at it. What was your path, Miss Ma'am?
So right now, I feel like it's like you mentioned a bit traditional, but not really. The only reason why I don't feel like it's traditional for me is because of like what I'm studying. Medical laboratory science is not like in it's not the first major I would think of if somebody says they're a pre-med. I don't know. I feel like when you say you're a pre-med, then people automatically expect you to be studying like biology or chemistry or life sciences or biomedical science, just something that like screams pre-med. I feel like especially since my program can lead you directly to the workforce and then you don't have to worry about school ever again. I feel like it's not really a common pre-med major. And I also like applied and got into this program when I didn't know I wanted to be a doctor. So I had in my mind I wanted to be a medical laboratory technologist or clinical laboratory scientist, like it's called in America. Um, but yeah, that's what like my end goal was in my mind. And then I'm like, mm, I don't really want to do this anymore. So it took a lot of talking with my career advisor and
Yeah.
academic advisor and friends and family and stuff. And then I realized I'm like, yeah, like just go for it. Just like deep down, you wanted to be a doctor. Like you were just swerving and picking random careers, but you never truly wanted it in the bottom of your heart. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then I am thinking of taking a gap year after. I feel like we'll really see once I'm in my fourth, like, or summer third year slash fourth year. I feel like we'll really determine if I'm taking my gap year then. But overall, I feel like my journey, my path is not going to be a traditional one at all.
Yeah, mine was, I don't know what to call mine because too I didn't say anything, but when I was in undergrad, I actually changed my major. So my major wasn't beginning with it wasn't biomedical sciences or anything like
Mhm.
that. My major was nursing. When I tell you,
Yeah.
shout out to the nurses because you guys are really
Mhm.
great. You've practically saved the world from the pandemic. You're
Literally.
superheroes, literally. But nursing, honestly, was not for me. And I say that only because it wasn't the clinical aspect. Because I'm very great at clinical. I'm very good at learning and making sure all my patients have what they need. It's
Mhm.
just for me. I'm a very authoritative type of person. So when you're in nursing, you have authority, but you can't really speak over the doctor and a lot of different other people. There's a lot of people over your head in the hierarchy. And
Mhm.
so I think I kind of went into nursing because I shied away from medical school because I thought I wasn't good enough. That imposter syndrome is real.
Is real and dangerous. Like,
Maybe I think it was because I was scared and I was like, okay, I'm not good enough for medical school. So I'm gonna just go to nursing school, get my nursing degree first, and then we'll see about medical school. No, it didn't work out like that. I was like, it boiled down to I had to make a decision whether I wanted to be a doctor or be a nurse. And my advisor told me, I sat down with her, I said, listen, I'm not doing well in my classes. I'm doing well in clinical, but I'm not doing well in my classes because I'm not answering these questions like a nurse. I'm answering these questions how a doctor would, how they would
mm,
diagnose. And so she was like, okay, you have a decision to make. Do you want to go to medical school? If you decide, yes, I want to go to medical school, you're going to graduate early anyways, because nursing majors, they have some of the same classes as the biomed students. So I had taken all my prereqs anyways. So she was
yeah.
like, you're going to graduate early. You just have to make a decision on whether you want to be a nurse or a doctor. And I remember I left that day I was in tears because I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. I called my mom. I called her up. I was like, Mom, you know how you call your mom when something's going on? I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't I don't know what to do. I was like, do I want to be a nurse or do I want to be a doctor? She was like, you've been saying you want to be a doctor since you were little. I mean, you said you wanted to go to nursing school. We were your family. We supported you because you said nursing. We were like, okay, cool. But you've always said you wanted to be a doctor. And so I think
Mhm.
after that, I changed my major that day. Actually, I called her back and was like, Miss such and such, the same for me. So yeah, my path. It's traditional, but it's untraditional at the same time. So it's been healthcare, but doctoring, I had to grow into that. I had to get rid of that imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
All right. So next question for you: why did you not major in biology?
See, like I
We're getting
previously,
the hard questions.
so when I was in grade 12, in my mind, I wanted to be a no, a medical laboratory technologist.
Okay.
I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I got to look for programs that offer this, but I didn't want a diploma or a certificate. Like,
Gotcha.
like during that time, I just didn't want to go to college. I just wanted to go to university and get a degree.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of research, and then I found a program that offered a degree and in medical laboratory science and everything. And I'm like, oh, boom, this is perfect for me. Let me apply, and then I got in, by God's grace, and I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I literally cried that day when I went on my portal and found out I got accepted. And then in the middle of my first year, I was just there and I'm like I still love this program and I still love medical laboratory science. I feel like it's very important for me to know this as a future doctor. I feel like I'll have like a slight upper hand only because this program is about dealing a lot with diagnosis. Um, and then like 70% of diagnosis come from the lab anyways. So I feel like it's pretty important for me to know this. But and then I was like, something's missing. Like I need to, I don't know, I need to talk to somebody. Something's not clicking. Like this, that
The
spark
math
that's
isn't
missing.
mathing.
It's not that like 2 + 2 is 4, but
Why
you
am I
know,
getting 8?
it wasn't adding up. So and then I talked to my career advisor, and she's like, "Okay, make a pros and cons list of medical laboratory technologist and being a doctor, and then come back to me and tell me like what's on your list and everything." And then I realized that like everything on the con side of being a doctor was just like, oh, like imposter syndrome. Like I didn't think I was good enough. Like it's gonna be a crap ton of money. Like going to school for many years never really bothered me because I personally really like learning. So like wasting quote unquote my 20s did not bother me, even though I don't believe it's wasting, but apparently that's like a common stigma around medical school. But yeah, I didn't mind going to school for multiple other years after university and stuff. And then she's like, "Yeah, everything on your list is pretty BS. Like, a lot of careers come with that, right? Like a lot of careers you're gonna feel insecure about yourself, but you can't let that insecurity stop you from being what you want to be." And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect her to like, I didn't expect her to be that brutally honest, but like she was right. Like a lot of other people other than doctors have imposter syndrome and a lot of other careers as well. Like you have to go to school and it costs a lot of money either way. So those weren't really good reasons to not pursue um, medical school, especially in my state where I am, me and my family, we're financially stable. Like, we're good. It's not like we're struggling or anything. Like, we're in a good spot. So, like, money isn't really a problem.
Right.
So she's like, yeah, that's not an excuse. Like, unless you can't come up with real cons, I don't see why you shouldn't pursue this. And I'm like, okay,
Like, all right, you're sabotaging yourself, but proceed.
yeah.
He's like, but go off.
And then I'm like, okay, so do I switch to biology? Like, what do I do now? And she's like, honestly, it's up to you. And I'm like, okay, I'll just stay in this program because I do love this program. And I feel like it'll be a little different. You see, like, all those thousands of students applying. Oh, okay, biology, biology. Oh, a medical laboratory science major. That's different. I feel like,
Honestly, yeah. And I feel like that, I don't know why, but I feel like that kind of maybe stands out a lot of the time because I've heard, and riddle me this, the first time I ever heard of somebody majoring in something other than biology was my senior year. Nobody ever told me you could major in like English and still go to medical school.
I didn't know that either.
That was the case. I'm bomb at writing papers. I'm a writer as well, so I'm bomb at writing books and papers. I was like, I could what? You mean to tell me I could have been getting straight A's? I mean, because my GPA wasn't terrible, but when I took those nursing classes, that's what really hurt my GPA. The
Mm-hmm.
nursing classes took my GPA because I didn't want to do it. And believe it or not, especially to you guys that are just starting college, your freshman year absolutely counts. Because I was haunted by my freshman and beginning of my sophomore year up until I was a senior. It was so hard getting my GPA back up. Once your GPA goes down, it's so hard getting it back up. So honestly, my GPA just haunted me. And so I was like, had I known I could have majored in like English or something like that, I would have did that.
Like I learned that in like when I was doing my research and everything that you don't have to be a biology major to be a physician. And I'm like, well, this would have been great information to have
This
like
would have been
at
so
the
great.
beginning. So
And
I didn't have to worry
it
about
would have been
switching
so
majors.
great. It would have been so great to have my senior year of high school because I remember going to the college fairs. My high school, was very small. Our graduating class was like 72. I remember we would have these little college fairs in the gym, and me and my mom would come because my mom has always been very supportive. She's always been my rock, and just all around, just a great mom in general, like big mom energy. But she used to come with me to the fairs, and we would be looking for programs that had like nursing, they had medical programs like biology. We were not checking for programs that did not have those things, not knowing that I could have still went to these colleges for little to nothing and still got into medical school. So I think it's very important. That's another important fact. I'm glad we touched on that, that you can actually major in something else and not,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And not have to be in biology if that's not really your strong suit. Of course, it's going to have to become your strong suit eventually.
Yeah.
But I feel like taking those courses along with taking things that you're actually interested in college makes your college experience much better. Because, honey, I was stressed. I'm not going to lie. Undergraduate school, I did that online. That was cool. Whatever, cool. I'm graduating in May for that. But undergraduate, I was stressed.
Yeah.
Mixed
It's
in trying to figure out who I am as a person and imposter syndrome and everything else I have to deal with, honey.
that is a recipe for disaster right there. It
I'm,
was
lucky, I'm lucky I made it out when I did. Let's just say that.
and the pandemic just to add a little sprinkle, like
Just adding a little sprinkle to my
a little
story.
small reaction right there. No, because
Bro, I'm telling you, when I graduated, I was over there like, the SpongeBob meme where it's like that was me. I was like, all right, I made it. Nobody knew it, but I was like, all right, cool.
no, really, especially in Canada, like our medical schools. Okay, we only have like 17 really, so it's not even that much. Like the whole country has 17
Lucky you.
medical schools. So, but the thing is, there's no like prerequisites or specific majors for most of them. So they just require like the MCAT, a certain GPA, extracurriculars, like all the basic medical school applications. But they don't require a lot of them don't require specific courses like orgo or physics or stuff like that. So you can literally major in anything and then still be accepted. It's just obviously you want to take some bio, some chemistry, just so that you're not completely lost when you take the MCAT. But
Yeah.
like in terms of the actual application, a lot of schools don't require any prerequisites or specific programs, which is like also one of the things that like pushed me into staying in my current major and why I didn't switch over to biology.
Hmm. I'm moving to Canada. That's all I'm hearing. I'm like, all right, cool. Writing down, okay, Canada. That's great, amazing. But no, it seems like you had a real kind of the same path that I had, just kind of chilling out, just figuring out yourself on top of figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life. That's
Mhm.
scary. And piggybacking off of that, what was the question? Oh, how old are you? Was
I'm
that the question?
currently 19. I'm turning 20 this year.
Yes. Oh, that's so great.
Starting my 20s.
Oh, oh, you're making me feel old. Oh my god. Well, I'm 23.
Not even that old.
This is what you got to look forward to in like 4 years when you start medical school. But no, I think age is such a stigma as well because people think just because you're older you can't go to medical school. I
Mhm.
just want to let it be known that I just started. I finished my first week of medical school this week, and the oldest person in my class. Can you guess how old he is? Just guess how old he is.
47?
No, he's 60. Yeah,
Really?
60 years old. And so I've heard about it before, but I was like, you know what? Age isn't really that big of a deal
It's
either because a lot of people feel like you have to have everything right then and now. And then when you don't get it, you have that imposter syndrome. You feel like a failure and everything. But then you see people like him who are 60 and chasing their dreams, and you're like, maybe I am gonna be here for some time. Maybe I'm
yeah,
gonna be there for a minute. So what else could I conquer?
literally. Because at the end of the day, time is going to pass regardless of what you choose to do
That's
with
the
it.
one.
So
That's
you
the
can
one.
be 30 and in medical school at the end of the day, you're gonna be 30 either way. Might as well be a doctor while you're at it. You know,
Might as well
like
be.
might as well.
I was saying that too because I told my mom, like I think it was last week or week before last. I was like, I'm literally gonna be like 26 when I graduate. She was like, okay. She was, she was like, she was like, do you know, like my doctor is like 67. She was like, you think that's old? She was like, you're gonna walk in the room and they're gonna ask who you are, why is this kid in here?
Literally.
She's gonna be like, they're gonna be like, is your mom the doctor? And then you're gonna be like, nah, I'm the doctor.
It's like, who is this little girl and why is
Who is
she
this
calling
kid
herself a
trying
doctor?
who is this kid pulling up my chart? But yeah, I think age does play a factor too in why people don't apply to medical school. But honestly, go for it. Life is gonna go anyways, whether we want it to or not. So
Mhm.
I definitely had to bring up that little nugget with the whole how old are you situation. Yeah, he's great. I was like, I'm silently rooting for him. If he does
Literally.
this someday, I'm rooting for you. I really hope you get to the finish line. All right, and this is one of your questions actually. So, piggybacking off of what you said earlier with your advisor, just having conversations with her, what's the best advice that someone has given you so far for medical school?
That is a great question. I feel like I've gotten a lot of good advice throughout my years. I'm very fortunate to have a good support system. I feel like probably the one that we said about like time is going to pass regardless. Always only because like you mentioned, a lot of people don't end up applying to medical school because of their age, which to me like has never been an issue. Like I don't really care if I finish school and when I'm 30. At the end of the day, like I'm gonna be 30 anyways. So, like I mentioned, I'm gonna be 30 anyways, might as well be a doctor. But especially when you have like minor setbacks in life, for example, like you have to take an extra year because um like you failed an important class or you're taking a gap year, just reasons like that. And then it makes you question like, oh, now it's gonna set back my whole plan. Should I even still pursue this? I feel like time is going to pass regardless of what you choose to do with it is such an important quote because it really is like somebody also told me something like they're kind of similar. It's like time flies but you're the pilot, so like at the end of the day you're steering your own life. Like whatever you do you have to make sure that you're going to be happy with yourself in the future because there's nothing worse than regretting something and then you can't do anything about it because it's too late.
Mhm.
So I always say that time's gonna pass by regardless of what you choose to do with it. So might as well chase your dreams.
I think that correlates too with the best advice that I've ever gotten personally. It one was from, of course, my pastor, and then the other one was on YouTube. Her name is Sarah Jakes Roberts. She's also a pastor. I am in love with her. She's very inspiring for women, at least. And so the number one thing, like you said too, my pastor told me your faith is kind of like a plane. Your faith in your life, like you said, it's kind of like a plane where you're steering, you're driving, you're the pilot, but God is the wind underneath the plane. So he can guide you to whatever field, whatever you want to do. But it's your job to make sure you're following in alignment and making sure that you get to where you have to go. Because if not, you're gonna feel it. Like, have you been on a plane and you felt like turbulence?
Yep.
That's kind of where it goes. That's kind of the turbulence that we get when we're not following like God's path. So it feels like turbulence because the wind is going one way and we're trying to go the other way.
Hmm.
So that's the one of the best advice that I got.
I'm
And
gonna have to
then
write that down. That's really good. I'm gonna have to write
and
that.
then yeah, I'll send it to you. He tells me advice all the time. But the other advice was it was from a sermon that I watched from Sarah's actually. She said it was just girl get up. Like her whole sermon was saying like, girl get up. My generation needs to see a woman get up because as we know, women, black women, we've been down for a minute realistically. Still in social media, a lot of people aren't very articulate, they're not very feminine, they're not very classy, and so we've been down for a minute, and then backtracking to slavery and civil rights and all of that, we black women haven't been able to stand up.
Hmm.
Black people in general, but black women have always held this title where we have to be quiet, we can't say anything, or we can't have an opinion. And so for me, those two things kind of just stuck out to me as being kind of some of the best advice that I've gotten. And it doesn't even have to do with medicine, it's just sound life advice. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. I think medicine, in order to get through medicine, you have to first get through life. And
Mm-hmm.
so with us as medical doctors, we're learning how to get through life on top of getting through medicine. And it's tricky, it's hard, but we're eventually we get there.
Eventually, yeah.
And then this is your next question. It actually comes after my question. So the way I correlated them was that it could like be in chronological order. I don't know if you noticed. But your next question from one of your followers was, what are some challenges that you've encountered as a Black medical provider, or just being a Black person in STEM?
I feel like this isn't like I haven't encountered too many like big situations like I know some of my peers have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like being the only Black woman in any kind of place, it is kind of intimidating. Especially since, obviously like I try to get along with everybody, but like sometimes, you just want like that other person with you. You just want to look at that other Black girl and you're like, like you just immediately get each other. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like me or if it's just like a Black woman
It's
thing
not.
in
It's
general.
a thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
literally
it's
a
just
thing.
like, especially my program, I feel like I think I only know like two other Black women in my program,
Mm-hmm.
and then like everybody else is white. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly everybody in my program, but I've only met two,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't necessarily have classes together. I think I've seen the other Black girl maybe like a couple times throughout the semester, like my fall semester. So it was refreshing seeing another Black girl first and
Yeah.
foremost. I was like, oh my gosh, yay, I'm not alone. But I feel like that's a reality I'm gonna have to kind of get used to, which is kind of unfortunate, especially in medical school. Like, one article that really stuck out to me is in University of Toronto, which is like the biggest
Mm-hmm.
university in Canada, basically. Um, in like 2016, I believe there was one Black woman in medical school who graduated with like her hundreds of other white peers, and they only like there was only one Black woman in that whole class, so I can only imagine what she had to endure, or like just feeling very uncomfortable, even if she did like even if I do get along and I truly love like my white friends and everything,
Absolutely.
sometimes
Yeah.
like you just need that other person, like you just need another Black
You
woman.
just want. Sometimes you want someone who gets it completely.
Yeah,
Like they
without
can
having
understand,
to.
it, but someone who gets it, someone who's there, who grew up similar to you, who has similar morals, it's always a good thing. And then like you were saying too, when I started college, my nursing program, I think, was I the only Black person in that? I'm trying to think back. Oh God, that was like 4 years. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Anyways, I'm trying to think back. I think I was the only Black person in my medical not my medical program, because there's a lot of us in my medical program, which I'm very happy about. I go to a school that's very diverse, and so I'm that's something that drew me to them. But undergraduate, yeah, I think I was the only Black person in my nursing class, and that actually took a toll. Wait, okay. So here's the deal. I wasn't okay. So I wasn't the only Black person until junior year, because one of the girls actually left the program. So the other Black girl that was in my class before I left, she left the program before me because she wasn't feeling it. It wasn't for her either, and so after that I became the only one, and she was mainly the person that I communicated with. So it's like when you have the other person that was there with you, and you made a pact, said, hey, look, we have to get through this together, and then both of y'all leave. But other than that, it
Yeah,
was
right. Like, oh god.
it was just, but yeah, it was me and her. I'm not gonna say her name or anything, but yeah, she was there with me too. We went through 2 semesters of clinicals together, I think, before she was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. And then I was like, no, I'm not doing this either. I remember too when I was thinking, I was like, I'm not about to waste my mental health on this when I want to be in medical school anyways. I was like, I'd much rather cry about medical school than I would a program that I don't even want to be in. So that was
Mhm.
another factor that made me change my mind. But yeah, it was two of us, and then it was me, and then I think I believe they got two more people after we had left because people from other classes they can join in. If they didn't pass, they could join in on the upcoming class. So I think they did end up getting more black people, but yeah, it was me and her rocking for a little bit. we were holding it down.
Yeah, no, I remember being so envious of like America, especially HBCUs. I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I could have went to any undergrad like university, I would
What
definitely
would
in
it
a
be?
heartbeat pick an HBCU. I don't even know what kind. I would just pick
I
any.
was gonna say which one, girl.
Like, do I
If
even
I
know
yeah, if
like the names of some?
I honestly don't get me wrong. My school was a PWI. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my undergraduate university. I love the
Mhm.
experience that I had. I love the people that I met. The president, everybody is amazing. That school is amazing in general. But I would have loved to actually gotten the chance to go to an HBCU, and not just because it's predominantly black, but the culture.
Yeah.
The culture there. It's like you ultimately feel at home when you
Mhm.
walk on HBCU's campus the first time. I remember when I went on college tours my senior year of high school. I think we went to was it Hampton? I think we went to no, it wasn't Hampton. It was Howard University in DC. We stepped off the bus and I was like, oh my God, I was like, this is amazing. Like everybody there was so stylish. Like people had locks, they had braids, they had blue hair, red hair. They were styled from head to toe to go to class, the suits. It was, girl, amazing. Hands down. So
Making
yeah,
it sound
I
like
get
a
the whole
magical experience. We love that.
yeah, I get the whole HBCU thing. My best friend actually, she's graduating her undergrad this year, and she's actually at an HBCU. And when I tell you, sis is living her best life. Sis is living her best life. Even before the pandemic, she was living her best life. Now, even after, during, they have so many events on campus. I live next to her university, so she invites me to the events all the time, especially with like the sororities and the frats and everything. So yeah, HBCUs, kudos to y'all. Y'all have it. Y'all have it in the bag.
Yeah.
So for you in general, I know you were saying like HBCUs are cool and that would have definitely kept you just hyped up and motivated and everything. What keeps you motivated now? So like in your where you are now, what keeps you motivated to just keep going, I guess, with medical school?
So definitely, my friends and family, they really know how to like get on me when I'm slacking. Also, just like something as simple as just watching a YouTube video of like others going to medical school, and I'm like, okay, let me go back to work so that I can, I can be one of them in a couple of years if I keep working. Like, obviously, medical school is a lot of work. Like, it's no walk in the park. If it was easy, then everybody would have done it.
Yeah,
So, especially with how competitive it is here in Canada, there's only so many medical schools, and I think there was like this video that says that per four applicants, there's like only one seat or something. I don't know, something like that. I think it was like Med School Insiders or something that said it. I
yeah,
forget. But there's a very small amount of medical schools here compared to America. So if I do end up like going to medical school in Canada, then I need to work my ass off. I can't be slacking. And sometimes when I have like I'm just feeling really down. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're not gonna get any work done in this state. Just relax a bit, and then get your ass up and let's go. Let's
get
go.
up,
This,
go.
this work, this degree's not gonna finish itself. you know.
That to me, literally, I'm like, all right, I'll give you like a day, if that, if I even give myself a day. Because sometimes now, girl, I can't afford to give myself a day. If I give myself a day, I'm losing money, I'm losing studying, whatever. But before, when I was in undergrad, I used to give myself a day. I used to say, all right, look, you're gonna be sad about this boy for a day. You can be upset about this grade for a day. You are going to be mad that such and such didn't text you back, that your mama said something to you, you can be mad about it for a day. After that day, get over it. You got class. You got microbiology at approximately 8 a.m. in the morning, so you need to have yourself together by 7:30 a.m. So I would literally give myself like a day, because realistically, I mean, I'm not gonna say in medicine we can't have feelings, but we don't have time to have feelings, really. It's sad. I mean, it's like, I'm not the bad feelings. The good feelings, of course, we welcome those in. We welcome all the good vibes, everything. But the bad feelings, we don't have time to worry about that, because if we stop going to school, let's say we stop wanting to go to class for a week, that week is gonna catch up to us. It's gonna be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that 100%. You kind of just have to keep yourself motivated. I know for me, I like I said before, I love God, so I read my Bible. I have different motivational quotes and videos. I love Sarah Jakes. I will watch her to the ends of the earth. I love her videos, her podcasts. So I that's something that I keep myself motivated. I When I'm feeling down about medicine in general, like medical school, I'll probably watch Grey's Anatomy, or I'll watch like The Good Doctor or something like that.
Oh my gosh, same.
But there are
Nothing
some
feels
times,
better than watching those medical shows and understanding what they're saying. And I'm like, "Hmm,
yes, that's what I
yeah." It's
last night. Yeah, I did this like 2 nights ago. I was watching the show with my mom. It was like Mystery ER or something, where the people would come in and they would have certain symptoms and no one would be able to treat them, and then they would finally go to a specialist. When I tell you, everything on that one episode I guessed correctly that was wrong with the patient, I said, okay, this for me. Stamped. I said, okay, stamped. So I do little things like that to keep myself motivated. But then there are those times where I don't feel like being a doctor. I don't feel like, helping other people. I have a limit too. We all have limits.
mhm.
And so when those times come around, I just watch Netflix, man. I just watch Netflix. I'll watch a YouTube video. I'll listen to some music. Sleep. I like sleeping, but
Sleep.
I'll sleep.
Mhm.
So those are just some things that I do as well. So we have a lot in common, actually. We do kind of the same things. We're here. We're here. We're getting down to like our last like 2 questions. This is crazy.
Already. Damn.
My first ever YouTube video. This is I promised myself, I was like, you are not gonna go another year without a YouTube channel. So I don't care what you got to do. You show up. That's
Yep.
that was wait. That was another good advice thing that I've gotten too. No matter how you feel, show up. Show up.
That's good advice right there. Mhm.
Even if you don't feel, even if you have imposter syndrome, even if you don't feel like you're your best, you feel like you don't look good enough, show up. Show up as that girl that's gonna be a doctor. Show up healed. Show up happy. Show up smiling. Don't not show up.
I'm writing all these quotes down. Like you're dropping gems, and I'm just like, yes, like
Show up. Just show up. All you gotta do is show up. All right. So the question this is one of my questions. Okay. What specialty am I interested in? Hmm.
see, I like going into my whole pre-med journey, I'm like, oh, I want to be an OB. Like, I want to do
Yeah, I remember you telling
OBGYN.
me that.
I'm like, yeah, I want to do OBGYN. Like, I just feel like being in women's health, and I don't know, something about just being able to help other women, especially when like the mortality rate for Black women is extremely high, and like I read a lot of stories about how um, Black women, especially when pregnant, they're not really taken seriously. And I am a firm believer of being the change you wish to see in the world. So I'm like, child, if nobody's gonna help them, I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna help them.
Really,
Like, let
nobody else
me
gonna do it. I guess I can do
let me get this MD real quick and just go and help them.
Like if nobody else gonna do it, I guess I
If nobody else, I might as well.
can. Damn, now it's on
What's
me.
really stopping me from doing it, except for the
Right.
degree and the certification and all of that, of course. But
I
now
understand
really,
you're there.
besides that, I'm basically a doctor. Besides all of that,
Such a doctor, so
basically. But yeah, and then now I really started thinking, I'm like, maybe like I should do family medicine because, especially in Canada, we have a poor amount of family doctor to patient ratio. It is one of the worst globally. I think like we're 180th place or something. Last I checked, it's terrible. Like out of all countries, we're like 180th place or something. It's just bad. There's just not enough doctors, or even if there are doctors, there's just not enough family doctors.
Mhm.
So I've kind of been like thinking of both of them, and then emergency medicine as well, because sitting in that ER for 6 hours and not getting treated, like it's just awful. But at the same time, it's like there's not really much they can do if they don't have enough people
Yeah.
as well. So really those three specialties, but like OB is still like number one for me. I feel like once I get exposure to them, to those specialties, then I'll be able to determine which one I want. Or maybe I could just be an overachiever and get double certified in something. But for now, like OB's like my number one, and then family medicine, and then emergency medicine is third.
And they say too, I mean, you can have an idea of what you want to do for medical school, but they also say like you're probably going to change your mind by the time you start like clinical rotations. But for me, so my biggest thing that I want to do, I started off really loving women's health and really wanting to do something with women's health, and I probably still will do women's health eventually, maybe not being like certified or anything like that, but maybe I'll host like women events and things of that nature. But I really love internal medicine. I love internal medicine. I like having the idea of where diseases come from and figuring out how to properly take care of a patient before it gets bad. I like being the specialist that people send their patients over to say, hey, I don't know what's going on with you yet, but she may have some insight. I want to be that she. I want to be her where I'm like, boop, boop, this is what's wrong with this person. This is what's wrong with this person. This is what you can do. Here's your care plan. Hi, how you doing? I'm your lifesaver. This is me. I'm saving your life before it becomes terrible. Before your type 2 diabetes become fatal, you come to me. So I want to do internal and primary medicine, and I also would love, love, love to open up my own practice one day and have just a roster of people like working with me, different doctors, nurses, specialists, all of that. So I want all of that. I want the entire thing. And then I tell people too, I want to be like Dr. Oz as well. So I'm gonna have my own. I'm gonna do internal medicine and all of that. But if I can get on TV like Dr. Oz, hello, hire me.
Like, why not? Yeah, why
Dr. Oz,
not?
hire me, hello. I will dedicate every Saturday to recording your show. To going to New York to record the Dr. Oz show. That's what I would do. But that's what I want to do. That's my specialties.
Yeah, heavy on the practice part. I feel like personally I wouldn't like open my own practice, or if I do, then I need somebody managing all of that because I the healthcare administration side will be a pain in the ass for me. Like I don't know. I'll deal with the medicine side and treating the patients, but I'm gonna need somebody else to deal with the
I'm gonna
administrative
need, yeah,
side.
yeah.
Like yeah, and then like you said, with nurses, even physician assistants or associates,
You
like
need the
nurse
billing department.
practitioners, like
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, everything.
And that's what people don't understand either. Healthcare and medicine is a whole hierarchy of needs. Like we doctors do not do it. We don't do it by ourselves. We have the nurses, we have the PAs, the nurse practitioner, the billing office, the medical receptionist, medical assistant.
Social workers, like everything. Yeah.
We have everybody there. It's a team sport. Medicine is a team sport, and everybody is there. It's not just us. It's not just the
Yeah.
doctors. And so for me, that really interests me too because I'm like I could create so many jobs if I open a medical center, and then if
Mhm.
that medical center gets big, I can expand it. So it's different ways that I've thought about this. But yeah, for me, internal and primary medicine, I'm more of the preventative type of care person. So I like finding things and then helping you fix them before we have to get different types of therapies to do that. All right, we on our last two. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so I'm gonna save the best one for last, but the one before the last one, which school do you attend? What's your school?
Mm-hmm. So I go to Ontario Tech University, and um, it used to be called University of Ontario's Institute of Technology, but they changed the
Hmm.
name a couple of years back. I still don't fully know why, but they changed it for some reason. So yeah, that's the school I currently attend. It's a pretty small school. I think it opened in 2003, so I'm older than the school. I'm literally older than my own school, which is still mind blowing. But yeah, it's pretty small. It's really science and technology oriented. So there's like a crap ton of science programs and like engineering. There's also like a social science like department and faculty and everything, but we don't have like the arts major that much, like theater and dance, like stuff like that. We don't really have that since it is science and technology oriented, but it's still a pretty good school, like state of the art labs and everything. So I do really like my school, except for the whole strike part. But like besides that, it's a good school.
All right, so I'm not gonna give away just yet what medical school I'm going to because I want to do a whole big announcement.
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw it. I posted on my Instagram a couple days. I was like, should I tell you guys where I'm going to medical school?
Yeah, I saw that. I voted yes. I'm like, yes, we want to
You're
know,
like,
guys.
yes, tell us. I'm actually gonna wait because I'm a person where I like to go big or go home. God
Mhm,
be with my family for my wedding and gender reveals and all those other big accomplishments in my life. I like to go big. So
mhm.
I'm probably gonna do a whole like photo shoot and just do it, live it up, do a video, all that good stuff. So I'm not gonna disclose where I'm going to medical school yet, but for undergraduate, I went to Averett University. It's in Danville, Virginia. It's one of the best universities in Virginia. It's a very small college. It's small, but it packs a big punch. So if you're interested in Averett, definitely go to their website. They're really good. The president is phenomenal. Everyone there is 10 out of 10. And then my master's degree is from Liberty University. So Liberty is actually 45 minutes from where I went to school. And they're also a Christian based university and they're affiliated with Averett and they're just as great, just as good. So I tend to pick universities where I get that family feel, and so I feel like I got those with the last two universities that I definitely I can already tell with my medical school that I'm going to be getting that because they have some of the same programs, but I really hope that I kind of get that family feel from it too. But yeah, those are my universities, girl.
Oh my god. Also, one quick question. I'm pretty sure it's not on the list, but are you like going to osteopathic medical school or MD medical school?
I am going to be an MD. I went through that whole phase too. I went through that whole phase where I was just like, do I want to be a PA? Do I want to be a DO? Do I want to be an MD? I was like, there's
Mhm,
so much to choose from. But ultimately, I stuck with my main goal. I've always wanted to have that MD behind my name, so I stuck to the MD. And
mhm,
I really love allopathic medicine, and I love everything that comes with learning more about internal medicine and internist in general, as far as the whole human body as a whole. I dig that. I think the only difference between osteopathic, anyways, and MD is that they're certified to do, I think, osteopathic maneuvering, I believe, with the
mhm.
body. So they look at the body with a holistic approach, which is amazing. 10 out of 10. Osteopathic school is just as great, but I think for me, I've always had the dream of being an MD. So I'm going to MD school. Yes, ma'am. Which one did you want to go to?
Yeah, if I do end up going to medical school in Canada, then it has to be MD. We don't have any DO
You
school.
don't have any DO schools.
No, they're all MDs. So that's literally
They
what.
don't give you a choice. All right, great.
Nope. They're like, if you want to be a doctor, then
Great. They're like,
either
all right. They're like,
PhD
all right,
or
great. Good
MD.
talk. Good talk.
Yeah, PhD or MD. That's it. But if you want to be like a medical doctor, then you do have to do MD. So yeah, that's the one I'm planning on pursuing as well.
Awesome. All right, and last question of the evening. This I think this is maybe the most important question that people will need to hear for medical students, and then medical doctors in general, and pre med students, because we're gonna have a lot of this. I'm a living witness. How do you deal with failure?
That is a great question. Okay, sorry, I was just plugging in my laptop.
You're good.
Okay, so I am not gonna lie, I really take failures to heart. Like, I don't know, something about like my imposter syndrome just has its the time of its life when like something like that happens. Like I did share on my Instagram a couple days ago that I did fail my microbiology class, and that was something that I was kind of iffy about sharing because I'm like, I don't know if I want to be that vulnerable on my Instagram, or I don't know if I just want to share that. But I ended up sharing it either way because I do want to really show that a lot of students, especially pre med students, deal with imposter syndrome. And just because like my life seems so put together on Instagram, it doesn't mean that I'm not going through things outside of that. Like I do want to depict like a realistic journey to medical school. It will come with, plan B's, plan C's. It will come with failures, but at the end of the day, I'm still sticking to my path. And I feel like it just makes your success story a bit sweeter, when like there are ups and downs. Because obviously, if you pass all your classes, you go straight from undergrad to medical school, pass all of that, flying colors, go to residency, flying colors, all of that. Like, I'm not dismissing anybody's success. I do feel like if you do all of that, then major props to you because that is insane. But I feel like, I don't know, when oh, I had a minor setback here, it just makes your victory even sweeter because of all the obstacles that you had to face and everything. So I usually, like you said, I give myself a day or a couple of days to just like really reflect on, okay, so what exactly, like, where did I go wrong? Um, what happened? Like, what was going on during the class? What was going on when I failed? Like, I started off pretty good with micro, and then once I did my midterm and I failed my midterm, that's really when my grade just dropped, and then it's just been a struggle to bring it back up ever since.
Yeah.
So really like, okay, what study techniques worked for me when I was studying that class? What didn't work for me? What did I do that worked? What did I do that didn't work? Even speaking to my professor and being like, hey, like, um, can you let me know like how I did on my final exam? Because my school, they give you your letter grade, but they don't give you like how much you did on your final exam.
Gotcha.
So I asked her, I'm like, hey, how did I do on my final exam? Like, even if she has any tips on how I can improve myself in the class, like meet up with your teacher, get a tutor, like what my next steps are when I'm going to be combating this class again, or just whatever I failed at again, whether it be an application process or just like a job interview or even a class, anything. I feel like reflecting on what you did right and wrong is very important so that you don't redo the same mistakes and then have the same outcome, but also allowing yourself to be like vulnerable and feel a little sad about it is very important. Because if you just dismiss it and move on, I feel like bottling up that energy is not good. Like, you do need to let it out. Like, I feel like dismissing it just, it doesn't make it seem real, and then it'll hit you all at once, and that'll be even worse than processing it when it's still fresh so that you can truly move on instead of referring back to it later on.
You already know what I'm about to say about failure. Get up, girl, get up. Because failure, let me tell you, failure is a part of living. I realize it's so hard to live. It's very easy to die and give up and not be here, but it's very hard to live. And so for me, that's always something that sticks in the back of my head. It's like, girl, get up. Like you have to get up. You can't sit, you physically cannot sit here, not because you have people depending on you, not because you'll have patients in the future, because you yourself have to push yourself to get up. And so failure, I used to take failure very, very harshly as well. I used to take it to heart. I would cry. My mom can tell you, anybody can tell you. I would cry when I got bad grades on my nursing test, on my exams. I would literally cry because I felt like, okay, I'm studying, I'm doing all this work, I'm doing all the hard, dirty work, and I'm still not where I want to be.
Mhm.
But you have to realize too and remember you're exactly where you need to be. You're doing the best that you can. give yourself some grace. If you felt like you didn't do good on the last test, study better, get some help, go to your resources. My school had a student success center. They had a lot of different resources that we could utilize, tutors, all of that. Get some help, learn your study style. It's very important to learn how to study and learn what material you're going over. So for me, I think failure, it's, we have to have failure in life. But it's gonna happen. None of us are perfect. We're not perfect human beings. So we're gonna fail. We're gonna give up. I failed some classes. I've failed some tests. I failed at life. I failed at my job, actually. I failed many times before, but the what sets me aside from other people and what will ultimately set everyone else aside from other people that fail is the fact that I get up. I'm resilient. It's not how you fall, it's how you get up.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, failure, I've learned that I'm gonna fail. It's non-existent. Not necessarily saying I'm gonna fail medical school, I'm gonna fail this class, I'm gonna fail, 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 being negative. It's just when you welcome change, when you welcome failing, you're like, okay, all right, I gotta do better. So your mind shifts. It turns into, oh my God, I failed this test. How am I gonna bring this grade up? How am I gonna do this, this, and this? I'm a failure. I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. To, all right, I'm not strong in this subject. I'm gonna need some help with this. Let me get some help. Let me do some more research. Let me study more. It's a mind thing. So changing your mind and shifting your energy towards good thoughts and happy thoughts, thoughts that are godlike, thoughts that are amazing, good, something that'll help you, and switching over from that negative energy could really help. So for me, um, I sucked at failure. I was not great. I was not great at failure, especially in undergrad. Girl, when I tell you I used to cry my eyes out when I did not do well, because it's like you when you studied something, it's on the tip of your tongue, and you
Bro.
still pick the wrong answer. I'm the type. See me. I'm working on this. I'm the type of person where I will know the right answer. I will look at the right answer on the test, especially multiple choice, and I will choose the opposite answer of what's the right answer that I had the first time. I will second guess myself. And I'm working
Mm-hmm.
on that, yes. But that's the type of failure that I'm talking about. That failure where it hits you. It's like, all right, you knew better. Aariyana, why didn't you get that right? So I think for me, learning how to fall, learning how to fail and pick yourself back up. I'm very happy that I have learned that, and just failure in general is gonna happen. So I think we should just embrace it.
You were spitting some bars there. Yeah, exactly that. Like,
I'm gonna write a self-help book for med students.
no, because at this point, everything you were saying, like, no, I'm taking notes. I'm like, oh, ooh, that's a good one. Write that down. Write that down.
At this point, I'm gonna be a life coach or something.
At this point, might as well.
I
Like,
mean, I'll be, how old did I say? I'll be like 26 when I graduate medical school. So after that, I'm gonna have my whole life to write books. So
right? Yeah. You can
I'm
just like during residency on your free time, just write a book.
yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, what do you like to do? I'm writing a book. Really? Yes. You have time to write a book? I absolutely do.
Yep.
Yep, it's coming out next November. Check it out. But yeah, this has been a great talk. Thank you so, so, so much. Make sure, so tell the people your Instagram, where they can find you at, connect with you, all of that good stuff. Because I know you're going to have a couple pre med students reaching out to you, especially from Canada. Girl, yeah. Where can they find you?
Yes, okay. So my Instagram is MondianguMD, MandianGUMD. Same as my YouTube. Um, yeah, that's literally it. That's literally it.
Yeah,
Just
same as my
Instagram,
YouTube. Yeah.
Instagram and YouTube. Same platform. MandianGUMD. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for hopping on here for my first video. This is crazy. It's crazy to say that I finished recording my first ever YouTube video that's going to be posted. Of course, I've been in videos where I've been on YouTube and everything from companies that I work with, like healthcare companies, but
Mhm.
this is the first time I'm actually doing it on my own. And like I said before, I was like, this is my first year this is going to be my last year not having a YouTube channel. So
Mhm.
Goal number one.
I need to be on your channel just watching when I need to be motivated. I'm gonna be like, let me just go on. Let me see what Aariyana posted. Like,
I don't know, girl. I'll probably come out with something like motivational Mondays or something for like med students, and then just do that. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on my channel. Thank you for
thank you
recording
so
this
much for
video.
having me.
Of course. And I'm gonna actually I'm gonna stop recording now. But yeah, so let's see how I'm gonna do this. Let's see. Stop recording. Stop. It'll be